Hello my friends and welcome back to the channel. So today's video is going to be an update on the Monster Beetle project. Okay, so I haven't really done anything else since the last video. I've put the drive cups in, put the O-ring in, done the dog bone, put the rubber boot on, and then the wheel axle on. I've only got blue rubber sealed bearings. Not that you're really going to notice them, because once the hex goes on and then the wheel goes on, you're not going to notice it anyway. So the things I need to finish on here are put the bumper on, put the underguard on, which goes underneath. I've relocated the on-off switch for the ESC in the corner there. I put the light switch in. I've yet to tidy up the wiring. I need to put this other spacer bar in, which needs to go up there, and then I can cable tie all the wires together. I put the receiver in. The aerial comes along, goes through a red straw. It's cable tied onto the side of the chassis there, and it's got a little straw, a little red cap on the end. So once I put the bumper on, the underguard, put the pinion on the motor, put that in the gearbox, put the wheels on, there's not really a lot more else to do to it. I need to put the tie rods on. Now my plan, first of all, plan A we'll call it, was to use these aluminium ball ends with the 50mm bar. Once the servo saver goes on, from the hole to the hole is 70mm. If you're going with the central mounted steering servo like I am, it's 70mm hole to hole. Now I can't use these aluminium ball ends because they've got the ball already pressed into the aluminium end, and I didn't want to butcher the end of this up trying to get the ball out, so I won't be using those ones. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use these ones. These red ones are 20mm from end to end. The thread is 10mm, and then from the thread to the end of the ball, or to the end, is another 10mm. So these are 20mm. Whereas these plastic ones you get like with the lunchbox or any other kit you get, these are 18mm from end to end. The thread is 10mm, and then from where the thread goes to the end is 8mm. So I'm going to use these ones, because these little sections, this ball here, you get like the 2mm bolt that goes up through the CW01 steering upright, and then the ball goes on the end, you screw it in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these black 18mm ball ends. Going to go in a 50mm bar. I've cut a 40mm bit of rubber tube. This is the rubber tube that you get with the lunchbox. If you're making the friction shocks, you cut that to 18mm and then put it on the shaft. I've cut that to 40mm. That way I can still make 70mm from hole to hole, and it will fit onto the servo saver from that end to that end perfectly. If I make it to 71mm, I will give the front a little bit of towing, like it says in the book. It says in the book there you have to adjust the ball ends to give yourself a little bit of towing. So okay, so I can sort that out and get that on the chassis. But I want to show you the stage that I'm at the moment. So let me put the body on. I'm going to show you what my train of thought is for the body. It's alright bolting it all together and getting all the bits on and where you want to put it, but I need to show you the stage I'm at the moment. I didn't want to bolt it all together and then come back and then you ask questions as to how did I get that on there. I'm going to show you this as I go along. So this is where the body's going to sit. It's going to sit on the outside of the battery slots. Okay, so I found these body posts in one of my many spares of boxes. Let me show you what my plan is to do with this. So I'm going to use this piece of brass bar. It's 7mm top to bottom and it's 4mm deep. I need to cut this to 20mm. And let me just fit all this on here and then I'll show you what I mean. Oh, maybe not. One second. Okay, so the plan is so inside here we've got these lugs that the body would sit on. So these lugs here, you know, I'm poking with my pointy thing. I need to cut these flaps off and I need to make that flat. So I need to cut that down straight. Then I'm going to put this against the side there, but I'm going to cut that to 20mm. My plan is to cut this to 20mm, put it on the ruler there, so I cut it to 20mm, and then from this end I need to make a 3mm hole in the brass tube, and then there's a 7mm gap from that hole to that hole in the post, 7mm. So if I cut that brass tube to say 20mm, I should be able to make a 3mm hole to go in there and then another 3mm hole to go into there. But the thing is, I need another piece of bar about 1 mil thick to bridge the gap between this part that I cut off and this part of the body post, so this part here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a piece of, I'm going to come back far enough and show you. I'm going to cut a piece of this thin 1mm aluminium to 20mm. So I'm going to have a 20mm piece of brass, a 20mm piece of aluminium to go in front of it, and then I'm going to attach the two, one on this side here and the other side to the body post. Then that way I should be able to mount the posts to this bracket on the chassis, and then that way I should be able to get the body on and off properly. I've also cut on the body, I've also cut two 1mm pieces of styrene plastic, and I've cut it and I've glued it onto the back there, and then I've cut the other piece out and glued that on top, because when I cut the roof off this body shell it was really flimsy. So my plan is to mix up the body filler, Isopon P38. I'm going to fill the vent, so I'm not going to have a vent there on the back, I'm going to fill that, and then I'm also going to fill in between the two, where that line is, in between the two sheets of plastic, fill that, and then I can carry on with the body work and get all that rubbed down, get it all in primer, and then hopefully get it all on the chassis. This bracket you get with the Monster Beetle. So on the Monster Beetle, move it out of the way, which are these two here, you get these two posts and then this aluminium bracket goes in the back. But because I'm not having the Monster Beetle sitting up high, I'm obviously going to sit down low, I'm not going to be using these parts. On this part of the chassis here, this is at an angle. It comes out at the top and then it comes down. My plan is to cut that bit flat, cut the brass bar and the aluminium bar to make a spacer, so it goes forward and then it should line up with those black body posts. Only like a bit of a technical one today. So yeah, that's going to be it for now. That's just a quick update with where I am on the Monster Beetle project. I've had 2 weeks of head scratching trying to work out how I'm going to attach the body to these posts. Obviously because I'm not going with a Monster Beetle one, and therefore the bracket's not going to sit that high. So yeah, I think that's about the best I can come up with bracket wise. So off camera obviously I'm going to cut these to shape and size, and then in the next video I'll come back and I'll show you how I'm going to attach them to the chassis, and then we'll get the posts on, and then it should be easier to get the body on and off. Once the interior goes into the body, I mean once the dashboard goes up underneath the lower part, the screen there, it should be a lot more easier to get everything else done on it. Okay, that's going to be my little update for today. Thank you all ever so much for joining me and keeping up to date with my Beetle project. Take care everyone, and I'll see you all soon in the next video. Cheers for now.